Hi, and welcome to the podcast. It's Thursday, May 30th. It's a beautiful day.
It is a lovely day.
Look at that. I didn't even put that together. That is the voice of, at least over the last week. And I can't speak for everybody, but I would say in the general area, you are one of the luckiest women over the last week in the greater Toledo area, because if anybody has listened to this podcast for several years and the odyssey you were on to find your first home, it almost came to a destructive end less than a week ago.
Yeah, right up to our 1 year anniversary. On the 10th of June will be a year that we have been owners of this home. So,
well, you were almost the owner of a pancaked home, and I would like you to share this stressful, nearly harrowing, and very lucky experience.
I'm surprised you want me to share. I agree with you that there's so many things that I am lucky, that I can say that I'm truly lucky. And there was favor that was shown to us. I would say it's a bit hard for me to feel that, if that makes any sense. And I would say I'm also maybe not allowing myself enough room to be angry also. But I will explain. So on a sunny day, we had a really lovely weekend for the most part. We had some spotty rain here and there, but it was Saturday was a beautiful day. The blue skies, there was a nice breeze. Apparently it was enough of a breeze to bring a whole tree down into my yard and wreck my backyard. The tree limb, really, it's a gigantic tree. So the limbs are about the size of big, tall trees in other people's neighborhoods. The limb fell square between the garage and the home, and it smashed up my fence. It would have totaled my car if we were home, but we were not, and smashed up my patio furniture and ripped my power lines from the home and ripped out I think it's called a socket, my ground conductor, and the socket from my home that the power lines go through, if that makes any sense.
Why do you not seem to believe you're as fortunate as I think you are?
Because the timing was incredibly unfortunate. And I think the process to get here has been unfortunate. And that is not a me problem. Dare I say, the system, if that makes any sense. I feel, and I'm using the term victimized because I can't find a better word. I feel less victimized by the tree and more victimized by all of the effort it took to get everything put back together.
I can explain that easily. I can explain everyone's frustration in any kind of incident like this. Mm-hmm. It's because you can't be mad at a tree. You can be mad at a person.
Yeah, well, or a system, or an archaic, outdated way of going about getting these things done and repaired. I couldn't be mad at the tree, the tree, whatever, things happen. But the repair that needed to be made to my home was made that same day. It's just the unfortunate circumstance was that this happened on a holiday weekend, on the front end of the weekend, on Saturday. And we're talking about Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that nobody was really going to be working. And this wasn't something that was considered an emergency for me to have any kind of special privileges for. So, we had an electrician out and had the repair done on Saturday. So the tree fell during the day, and we got home at 4 or 4:30. And so we were able to really, the gentleman that has been doing the landscaping in my home, that did the landscaping last year, I called him and he was there within 30 minutes because the tree was in the sidewalk, portions of it were in the road. And so we were at a big liability if we didn't get that done as soon as possible. And he came out and he really got a lot done in a short period of time. And then we had an electrician come out, and the electrician was able to make the repair before the sunset and there would have been no light for him to continue to work. And so that was done. So I was really excited. But then when I called Edison to have service reconnected, they said, well, we can't go out there until the city does an inspection. You have to get a permit, and the city has to do the inspection so we know that it's safe for us to come back out. And this was Saturday, and I just knew that the city was not going to be able to do the inspection. I wasn't even going to be able to call them until Tuesday morning, which is essentially what happened. So we were out without power from Saturday to Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I called to have the inspection scheduled, and they said, well, we don't schedule the inspection until you apply for a permit, get the permit paid for and approved. So $120 later, I paid for the permit, got the permit approved, and they said, oh, by the way, we see your permit here, we see it's paid, but we don't do same day inspections. So now you have to wait until tomorrow. We do have availability tomorrow morning. Okay, great. Here goes another day without power. I assumed, and silly me maybe, and I guess I was functioning off of adrenaline and no knowledge on how to do any of these things. I assumed, okay, well, we'll have power restored by Tuesday. It's a holiday weekend. Tuesday will be the day. Tuesday comes, Tuesday's not the day. So then they say, okay, Wednesday. I'm thinking Wednesday is going to be the day. The inspector comes out. He says, okay, you're good to go. The work is done well, but you're going to have to wait another day, because now the inspection has to be sent over to Edison for Edison to then approve it and dispatch. And so that was yesterday. And now today, I have finally, literally 2 minutes before I jumped on with you, got a time of 6:30 that a crew should be out to restore my power.
How much has this cost you so far?
Well, so the electrical repair was around $500. The cost for the tree removal is still undetermined, but between the tree removal and the fencing, I'm probably going to be around $1,500, which is my deductible. And so I can't, I'm kind of, I don't want to claim this on insurance, because I know that is one of those things that negatively impacts you. You know, my rate might go up, or I might not be insured in the future. And so I feel like that's the other part, that we are in fact lucky that we are able to pay for things as they come. And that really, our circumstance last week was not that. This week, our circumstances are completely different for other reasons that are aligned, spiritually aligned, in my opinion. And I don't often say that, but things lined up for us in a way that really helped us to be able to get over this. We would, I have not talked about my husband's circumstances, but he's unemployed, and he has been unemployed. And so it would have been a nightmare for us.
Is it okay if I post the pictures that you sent me?
Of the tree?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because this needs a visual. I have questions, and you described it very calmly, and it was a holiday weekend, so I'm glad you didn't get caught up in even more bureaucratic, slow-moving red tape, despite some of the frustrations. I think when people see the picture, I think me doing anything for good luck or to keep good karma going in your direction is because if the tree fell the other way, you would not have a house.
Right.
Like at all. Like you'd have a tree in the living room. The dogs would have a tree inside the house, which would no longer be inside, to pee on in the living room.
I mean, just the thought of if it would have fell on the house while we were away, and if Kitty would have gotten out, or because Kitty would have absolutely been so scared that he might have jumped through, a way out, and the dogs would have gotten curious and probably hopped around and maybe tried to hop out. They would not have cowered, if that makes any sense. I mean, they would have eventually and then got curious. And our camera, ironically, we were at my brother's house for Colin's birthday, and Thomas and I were like, did you increase the sensitivity on the camera? And I said, no, I didn't. But it has gone off a lot. It did not. I mean, every car that drove past the house, it was going off for. But when a tree fell, didn't go off at all. It didn't. So we just didn't know. I mean, it was a shock. It was shocking.
So you didn't know until you got home. And
I literally screamed.
Can you replicate that scream? I'd like to hear it.
Sure. So I'm pulling up to the house, and we turn left into our driveway, and it wasn't until we literally got right up to the house that it registered, and I don't know how someone can scream, "Oh my God," but I was like, I screamed, "Oh my God," and my window was down, and I just screamed. And so we couldn't turn into our driveway, which meant we were stuck. So I kind of had to do a loop around. And so we had to loop around the block to get back. And we walk up, and I live on a busy street, and I'm sure the people could see me, but you just saw me standing there sobbing. I was just sobbing because I think I was just in shock. I didn't know what to do. And again, I'm lucky in that our homeowners insurance is renewing in a couple weeks as well. And so I had just gotten a letter in the mail because all of my paperwork the important stuff is at my mom's. And I remember saying to myself a couple weeks ago when I got the renewal paperwork, I said, Lord, if I ever have to use this, I am not going to know what to do. I mean, this is so confusing. How does anybody ever know what to do? Where do you start? What to do? And I mean, that was really me, that I was just lost until I could calm myself down and then figure it out.
My fear of situations like this, and many people unfortunately have gone through this, not a week goes by where there's not a fire and somebody loses a house. There's an incident, somebody's car goes through, and in most of these cases, people survive and they've lost their belongings, unfortunately. Sometimes they'll maybe lose a pet, sadly. I'm glad you're in a better financial position that you are. So maybe you can relate a little bit more to this. Like, I am glad if my refrigerator goes, or if something goes. Right. I am glad that I have been financially responsible enough where you can say frugal. And I have thought, like, well, you can keep buying blank, but just keep in mind, like, the air conditioner is not going to last forever. And the hot water heater just doesn't, like, slowly go. It goes. So my concern is not that I won't be able to afford these things. It's how long will I be without it, and how big will the headache be? Because I see everybody's horror stories. There was just one in the news today, like some woman saying, I just want my house finished. She had paid like $27,000 and a contractor screwed her over. Like, that's my concern, where the air conditioning goes. And even if it's like the hottest days of summer, you know, we'll get by. I have friends that take the dog somewhere else. I'll live, but like, okay, so you bought the air conditioner, but we're not going to be able to install that until for another 30 days. You mean October? Like, that doesn't do any. So it's some of those things, the work aspects of things that lingers in the back of my head for these incidents, but there's nothing you can really do about them.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of hurt me the most, is how helpless I felt. And that's where I'm not saying I'm like somebody victimized me. I'm saying that aspect, the helplessness of it, it just really, like, everything crashed yesterday. Like, I literally, my ability to try to stay positive just kind of fell like a sack of potatoes. Like, it was like the thought of, we have been ready to go since Saturday. Like, we could have been taking warm showers. I could have finished Under the Bridge, which is a fantastic show that I started. There's so many things that we could have done, and we couldn't, because we just had to wait for the process to work itself out. And there was no sense of urgency for anyone. It wasn't until today, and her name was Faith from Toledo Edison. Did anybody give me any kind of empathy? Did anybody give me any kind of tone other than, okay, lady, let me help you. Okay, all right, thanks. Have a good day. Like, it.
Uh-oh. Welcome back. Hello, there you are.
It wasn't until today did somebody provide me with any kind of, like, encouragement. Okay, this person called multiple people with me on the phone. It was like, it made me feel so much better. And then I finally got somewhere. Like, I felt like And I had said online, I said, I feel like the finish line just keeps moving. It's like I'm not being told all the information, and nobody's withholding information. I'm not saying anybody is withholding information from me, but I'm not given all the information I need to be able to respond or have reasonable expectations. And so I had been disappointed at every step since Saturday, essentially.
And again, you can't be mad at the tree. Stuff happens, but you can be mad at people. And this has been a theme of mine that for the since the COVID era. Like, I'm okay if the prices have to go up, whatever it may be, but the quality of people and service has gone down. Like, I love ordering my pizza all the time from the same place. If for no other reason, I've made a really good friend in a lady that always delivers to me, and I'm trying to help her son, who is him and his friends knocked off a gas station store, a stupid 17-year-old. So he's a felon now, and he's having a hard time getting a job.
Right.
And I'm trying to help get him in the right places for things, and I wouldn't have created that friendship if not for just doing the same thing over and over again. And another example. And there's good service out there, but it's harder and harder to find. And in many cases, I have to split my brain and go, the service isn't good, but this person's probably not getting paid very well. And I understand that, but you're still doing the job, and people having a little bit more compassion and guidance for you, even if they're just listening, might have made it a bit of an easier week for you. Another example of this frustration of mine, a couple of days ago, I made an eye doctor appointment, and it's a call center somewhere. So I always forget the name of the eye doctor that I go to see. She's extremely helpful as my eyes deteriorate. She's been fantastic. So I have no hesitation to go to her. But I always forget her name. It's a obscure, hard to pronounce last name, and I'm usually pretty good with names. So the woman in the call center who has no tone in her voice whatsoever, I have interrupted her day of sitting on Amazon and playing word games on the internet. She's getting me scheduled, and then she happens to say, I said, I don't remember her name, but if you tell me the names, I'll know what they are. And she read me these names. I'm like, nah, none of those are it. And she's like, how about, X, Y, or Z? And I was like, yeah, that date will work. She's like, oh, I'm not even in the right state. I'm like,
oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, had you not been on Amazon or something else, or had I not interrupted your day and you'd been a bit more engaged in your job, because I could have been scheduled for the doctor whose name I don't know, showed up, and they'd be like, you don't have an appointment. There's too much of that, and I hate calling the stuff out. But I also try to go out of my way when I can to point out the people who do go out of their way. There's a woman who was running the self-checkout at the Kroger I go to. She was so conversational. She saw I had a basketball player on my shirt. She's like, who's going to win? And we were talking basketball, and I forgot my cucumber. Today, she's an older black lady. She's like, young man, let me see your ID. I'm like, I am not young. She's like, I'm not young. I was born in 55. I was like, I feel like I was born in 1855. Typical like Southern charm, older black lady. And then there were a group of people who were all finishing up their self-checkout aside from me. And she's like, all of you, everybody, she was sending kids off to school. Like, everybody have a great day. Thanks for coming into Kroger. And I was like, that warms my heart because it's so rare.
Yes, and I think, like I said, with Faith from Toledo Edison, and I think he's one of the engineers. His name was Chad. Chad was also very kind, and they kind of gave me a roundabout way to get this done today because it was looking like it was not going to get done today. And I'm just like, how? Like, somebody explained to me how. And so even their understanding of oh man, let me figure out how I can help you, I just genuinely appreciated. The inspector, there was nothing he could do either, but he was at least kind, and he was like, damn lady, this sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it just really sucks. But I would tell you, AAA, that girl, and when I understand, and I'm well aware, even in that situation, I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry I'm having to call you about this on a Saturday, on a weekend, and that I'm also a bit of a mess. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not understanding what to do. Like, I had to warn her, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So can you please help me? What information do you need from me? I apologize. I was understanding of that. The electrician coming out, I paid him extra. Not only did he charge me an expedited rate, but then I tipped him on top of that because I was so grateful that there were people that were like coming to my defense when I called. I appreciate that. That means something to me. It makes a difference. And when it's not there, and when I'm just helpless, not by any one person, but by like, so for example, the city of Toledo's like building inspections, there's no exceptions. There's no emergencies. There's no way to contact somebody after hours. It is what it is. Like, and I'm not saying that it needs to change because I don't know how it operates. I don't have enough information on it to give an opinion, if that makes any sense. Like, I won't do that because I think that's just not nice. But and then even then, you got to get a permit. Those permits aren't expedited, and then the inspection is scheduled, but that's not expedited. There's no exceptions, none. Not for disability, not for families, not for children, nothing. And then they send it to Edison the next day. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, is there a QR code where it could be uploaded and they get it the same day? Like, this seems archaic.
The only defense I could have for no exceptions, other than like an extreme emergency, which is maybe only for like a commercial place or something,
right,
or like a public danger,
right,
is then you put it in the hands of somebody
to make that decision.
Correct. Like, what
Yep.
makes, that's why a lot of times I have exercised like nobody gets anything, just so decisions don't get picked apart or anything like that. What else is I going to ask you about this thing?
If you drive past my house by 7 p.m. tonight, the lights should be on. Fingers crossed.
My power went out today, which was super odd. I felt eerily connected to you. Yeah. So Diddy was up all night, like coughing or trying to vomit. So I was up all night. And I had that eye doctor appointment today, which I canceled because I was so tired. So I'm like, F this. I'm going back to bed. And I go back upstairs. I turn my little fan on. It doesn't go on. And I was like, well, I bought this thing in the teeth of COVID 4 years ago, and it's been on every minute since. So it had a good run. And I go downstairs and I turn another fan on, and it didn't go on. And I see all the lights on things are off. So the power was out. And I can't imagine how or why, because look at the day. And I immediately thought, oh no, did somebody doing landscaping hit a line? Which I immediately thought, well, how long? Everything that you dealt with, that anguish, began to run through my head. But thankfully, it was back on in 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
How much did you tip the electrician?
It's just an extra $50. But I paid him an expedite. We also paid him for, we paid him like 500, including parts, because he had to go to Home Depot really quick. We paid him like $500.
So you give him a 10% tip, I guess.
Basically.
And that ties back to that woman on Amazon, the people who are acting like a sloth, trying to help you at city agencies and stuff. Somebody who was just doing their job, you felt the need to go above and beyond.
Because I felt so bad for inconveniencing them when it is their job. But I don't know. I want to do good even in situations like this, and I want to think the best of things and of people, and I want to be positive. That's why I was kind of like critical of myself for yesterday. Like, was the first day where I'm like, I could cry. Like, by the end of the day when I was in my home, and I was just so, like, I was talking to Thomas and I said, I'm just so mad. Like, I'm just so mad that we're sitting here like this for no, you know what I mean? For just the dumbest reasons. Like, I'm just so mad. And then today, even knowing everything is where it should be and spending the entire day trying to connect with someone all the way up until the end of the workday, literally so much that the first shift can no longer do it. and they don't have a second shift crew for these types of services. So they had to then figure out a way for me to get this done. It just is maddening, and it's not for any one person. But we're here.
It's a good thing that it's the time of year where it doesn't really get dark until. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Why is that not? It's a good thing that it doesn't get dark till like nearly 9:30 now, and it's also good that you have been into reading books lately, which you didn't have to stream anything. What was it like? And Thomas is up all night, so what the hell did he have to? What did he do?
He was on his phone, so he has a battery pack, and so we will take the battery pack to my mom's and get it charged, and then we do have camping fans because we do we like to camp, even though we haven't camped in a while, and our fans have chargers on them. So like our fans have USB ports, and so when our fan is on and it's powered by like D batteries, which has probably been the most expensive thing, we can have our phones charging overnight as well, or at least holding something. Like it may not, I may be at 10% by the time I fall asleep and I wake up and I'm only at 40, but at least my phone didn't die.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then I come to work and charge my phone, and he uses his from the battery pack. Our security system went out, so that thankfully there was no crimes committed because we wouldn't have known, and everything is out at the moment. But
he is an all-nighter. He's a night like an overnight. An all-nighter. He's an overnight owl with no lights. What did he do?
It's the same for him. He is like, I don't know, Batman. Like he likes darkness. Like him and I actually laughed with him about this just maybe 2 days ago, where I'm like, do you realize how polar opposite we are? I like natural light. I like sunlight. I open blinds and windows so that the sun can come in the room. And then he comes behind me and shuts them. And I'm like, the sun is out. Why would you want to block it? Oh, I like it to be dark in here. Like whoever invented room darkening curtains, he could kiss them, I'm sure.
You are outgoing and genial. He is soft-spoken and
quiet and introverted. Absolutely.
Opposites attract.
Just, stark opposites too.
I began to get what I hope is not, but it likely will be, the slow drip of the bills for my scopes. And I am an intelligent person. I will tell you that. And I make it a point to be as educated as anybody can be when it comes to medical costs. And since I have had to examine a bill like this, they've gotten that much more inscrutable to try to understand. And it was wild to see that, like, the list of charges and the line items of things. I'm like, this is absolutely ludicrous. Of these, I feel bad for people who have like more extended hospital stays and more procedures, and hopefully some of these people have like Medicaid or Medicare or something. But maybe some people will just pay what they're told to pay one way or the other. But I want to know, and it was like thinking I could solve a puzzle, which I enjoy doing, and I couldn't. I felt like a failure because I was charged. I got a bill from UTMC, but what I was told I should have to pay through my insurance claim was a different number, and it was only, one was $98, another one was $81. That's why I say slow drip.
Well, and there's different groups as well. So like what you pay the specialist and whatever your specialist fee is, but then when the specialist sends you to the lab, I mean, I know this like kind of like the back of my hand now. Yeah. When they send you to the lab and the lab is in the main part of the hospital, then that billing is coming from a completely different entity that's usually not in the portal. And so you think your bill is like $350, but then there's another bill from an entirely different group. And I think that there's some merging that's going to be happening soon with these groups. And ideally, there's then one billing portal so you can see it all at once. Because otherwise, you're getting billed from two or three different entities, all connected to UTMC.
Yes, I can see it all, and it's just it's a laundry list.
Yeah.
To your point, when I go for my physical in July, I'm not going to let them get me by when my doctor has me do blood work, and I have to come back for that. I don't care if my appointment was at 11:59 p.m. at night, and I'd have to go how many ever hours fasting so I could get the blood work done. I'm going to the lab next to where I see him, rather than having to come back so they can go, oh, well, it wasn't part of the physical, so we now have to bill you as a lab visit. Fuck you.
Well, that used to be the case, but there was a while I would go to my rheumatologist is at the Rupert Center. And there was a lab in the Rupert Center, and they got rid of that lab. And so now anytime I need lab work, which I had to go to my rheumatologist every quarter because I have lupus. He's a specialist. And I had to get blood work every quarter to make sure that everything was under control. And I would have to go to the damn main hospital and pay. And I'm just like, this is stupid. And I couldn't go to the lab literally across the street, across Glendale, where my primary care physician, Dr. Knuckles, was, because it's a different group.
I'm sorry,
Couldn't
who?
go. Dr. Ruby Knuckles.
like Sonic?
Yeah, Ruby Knuckles.
Yeah, I began to look into this, and I felt like I promised I would never do. I would dive into these things and have things explained to me. And it looks like I'm going to owe $1,700 or $1,800, which is on the high end of what I expected, because I hadn't hit my deductible. So I don't know, but looking through the things was just wild, because I had the colonoscopy, like, because it's preventative, it's covered. Or so I was told. But I can't tell what I'm being charged for. Like, was it all covered? And I should have asked, well, is the hospital fee covered as well? Because it looks like the hospital fee is not covered. And then I was thinking, so what happens if, so I got the colonoscopy done because I was going down for the endoscopy, and the colonoscopy would be free. What if they bill me for anesthesia for the endoscopy? Rather than the colonoscopy, which they were going to put me out for. And I just couldn't get the gentleman that I spoke to at Cigna. They were trying to be helpful and patient, but they couldn't. I didn't even know the questions to ask to figure things out, because it's such a moving target, and anybody who's dove into this knows. Well, we don't know what it's going to be until we send the claim off. We don't know how much we'll cover because of X, Y, or Z, and it's so hard. And maybe I'll dive in if when I get the $1,800 bill or whatever it is. I want to ask just so I can be better informed
in the future
next time. But I thought, okay, $1,800, that's what I'll have to pay, because I haven't hit my deductible, which is like $2,500 or something. And in most cases you pay up to that and then things kick in. But I did hear one of the guys on the phone tell me, well, you've hit your deductible. I'm like, how is that possible? When did I hit it? I haven't. So it's so maddening to me, and I feel bad for people who are in a much worse position, who can't pay it and have to get on payment plans and collections nonsense. And
you're incredibly intelligent too. So
thank
your
you.
Capacity
Tell everybody you say that from the mountaintops.
Your capacity to understand things far exceeds, I think, your average person. And so this is why I was surprised that you even wanted to podcast. And my mom texted me and she's like, you should do a podcast about what's been going on. And I'm like, no, because I'm going to sound like some complaining wretch. Literally Thomas was like, yes, come to the dark side, because my positivity was just drained. And so hearing what you're going through with insurance, what a shame. What a shame. Well,
I couldn't wait to do this. The beginnings of my week are busy, and you're busy now, and then getting all this taken care of after a holiday weekend. And to be honest, I don't know how much faster, because of when this happened on a weekend, I don't know how much faster this would have all gotten resolved for you. Even if it was a regular week and not Memorial Day weekend. But I thought this was incredibly important to put out there because of what I mentioned walking up to this. These things happen all the time. You can't go every day, if not maybe once a week, there's a serious situation like this. And we're coming into Summer, I mean, we've hit summer pretty early, and I know like tornadoes rip through the middle of the country. And
they're horrible this year.
I think people are starting to understand, especially if they've read articles like, and you alluded to it briefly, why some people have a hard time getting homeowners insurance now.
Right.
It's too expensive. They're going without it because of the expense, because people live in Florida or where there's severe weather. And it's like a 17-year-old who keeps bumping into cars. Like you just can't get insurance because it's too expensive. So you got to take the bus. Now it's like, sorry, we're not going to insure you because you live in Tornado Alley. Well, I don't live in Kansas. I live outside of Chicago. Well, the climate has changed, and it's
right.
and now it's more dangerous in different places, and you just don't know. And that's on top of freak accidents, which yours really was because it wasn't real severe weather, but
right.
Just failing infrastructure in older places, which where you live, it's older infrastructure and power lines and stuff like that. People are going through this all the time. That's why I wanted you to share what you had to go through, and you did so eloquently, walking through the process of what it can be like. And again, even if to my feeling, even if you can afford the stuff, do you have the emotional bandwidth to go through dealing with Sally, who's like, sorry, we don't make exceptions? What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I think that's the part. It's that part. I mean, I'm fine that it was on a weekend, but there isn't any type of service or system that works with people that go through this on the weekend. And so that's why I'm like, so like a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old man whose home was damaged by a tornado isn't even going to get a call from his insurance company if it happened on a weekend or if it happened on a holiday weekend, because essentially my insurance company just now called me. So it is so interesting. And I will say one of the other things that I am most lucky and most grateful for is it didn't damage anyone else's property. It didn't damage my neighbor's home or harm their dogs that are outside literally 24/7. It didn't damage a car passing on the road. It did go as well as it could have. It's just what a shame.
Because you're not that far away. If young Brady Hall would have been driving down Douglas, hopefully not under the influence, but if that tree fell and hit the front of his car and he wasn't injured, I would have been okay with that.
Just a mess. But I'm glad for it. Again, fingers crossed. Service will be restored by this evening, and the fence should be. I spoke to those guys, the landscapers, and they believe that everything will be cleaned up and the fence will be back up and in operation for the dogs to go running about by the end of the weekend. And so I will have been on the other side of this. What the last thing to do is get the tree assessed and determined, like, can it stay as it is? What needs to be done to it so that it doesn't go terribly wrong shortly after that. And here we are. So
here we is, bitches.
The lights went out on me this week. That's for sure.
Well, that's it. I just wanted to chat about that. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I don't think so. Everybody, I really appreciate everybody that's checked in on me and listened to me complain in the bit of time that I started to complain towards the end of this week. And everybody's offering for me to come over and us to shower or do laundry. And
you can shower in the dark. The water's not off.
But the hot water tank obviously doesn't work. So you only have whatever is left.
Oh, is that because you have an endless hot water? Yeah. So that runs off electricity?
I think it's an igniter. Yeah, it's something in there. So the gas works. So the gas stove I could technically use, but I had to hit it with a lighter. So because the igniter wasn't working.
Got it.
So the endless amounts of people that checked in on us, wanted to make sure we were okay. Offered literally everything down to the refrigerator for my frozen goods. When obviously I took that straight to my mom's. So everybody checked in on us, and might I mention that I had just spent almost $200 at Costco on meat alone.
Let me tell you something. I swear to God, when there are times when I have had electricity go out, it's
the refrigerator's stocked.
Yes, like you literally just walk in from grocery shopping.
Yes.
And I don't know how long this works for, but they tell you do not, if the power's out, do not open it.
Yeah.
Because once you
Thomas
do,
was just open and close, open, close,
right.
open, close.
But yeah, I bet you people are like yelling and screaming like, yeah, how come the power only goes out when the refrigerator is stocked full? It's like, how come the air conditioner only stops working on the hottest day of the year? Well, that's because when you use it, but still.
So we were really lucky in that the weather was very cool, and so it was completely bearable. In fact, yesterday when I was like having to take a cold shower, I was cold. Like I didn't want to because I'm like, I'm not going to warm back up because it's cold outside. It's cold in the home now. And so and Thomas was like opening windows and I'm like, stop that. It's freezing. So, but yeah, everybody was really kind, and we're going to get the meat back. We took that and kept that frozen. And so that should be fine. I think the other part that was just really, really ironic is I had to be flexible with somebody I was working with the other day. And we actually did a meeting like on the go, if that makes any sense. And because this person really, really wanted to go pick something up from Aldi. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm flexible. It's been a tough week, last week. This was Friday. And I was like, sure, we could talk on the way there. We could talk through some things. And who doesn't love to go through the aisle of shame at Aldi? And
what's the aisle of shame?
It's the aisle that has all their like dupes and all of their really like good, well-priced like items that you want, if that makes any sense. Like, and it's sometimes a theme. So when we went last week, it was camping themed. So you could get all things like camping fans and lanterns and fire pits and all of that at a really discounted rate. So for example, Aldi had outdoor furniture and these beautiful outdoor chairs and ottomans, and they had it on sale for $35, and there was 2 of them, and they were, I'll send you a picture, they were really good quality and they were attractive. Like it was an attractive set. And I sat there and I looked at it probably for 10 minutes and I said, you don't need it, Alex. You have no money. Again, my financial circumstances last week were drastically different than what they are now. And they're not great now, but they're just not in ruins like they were last week. And I said, Alex, don't you dare. Don't you dare. You don't need those chairs. You have 2 perfectly good, zero gravity outdoor chairs as it stands. You don't need it. You don't need these chairs. And I sat, and there was another lady, and she was like, yes, you do. You're going to regret it if you don't. The person I was with was like, Alex, where are you going to get chairs of this quality? And they were oversized too. They weren't like these little like rinky-dink chairs for $60 for like essentially like $65 for both. Where are you going to get that? You're not going to get that. You can't pass up this deal. I mean, and I said, no, I don't need them. I have what I need. And not even 24 hours later, my chairs that I said, these are fine. I don't need any new ones. Were smashed to smithereens.
Look at that. I do have a couple more things.
Yeah.
Is it a TikTok thing where people are doing the no buy pledge or challenge?
What's that?
Okay.
No, I don't know. I've never seen it. If it is, it hasn't come across my algorithm.
They pledge to not buy things they don't need, to run out of things before they buy replacements for them, less retail therapy, the no buy pledge, which
sounds like me.
Which had me going, you mean just like budgeting?
Literally.
And so I was talking to Jaden today, and what did Jaden say to me? And I try not to like come off as to get off my lawn for is about a song to get off my lawn for TikTok things, but there's a new Eminem song coming out, and I'm very excited for this project. It's called Houdini. And Jaden's like, I know a Dua Lipa by that song. Dua
Lipa Houdini.
And I texted him like, I like that song.
I do too.
I asked Jaden, I was like, how many people do you think under a certain age know who or what a Houdini is? What did he say? He said, chances are there's already a TikToker who made a "Do you know this?" video, which made me realize that you know what TikTok is filled with?
Young people.
A bunch of Columbusing.
Yes, there are TikToks where people think that the skort was just recently invented. The skort.
Can you explain?
And I'm like,
can you explain what Columbusing is? Because it sounds much better coming from you.
When a person or a group came in and acted like they discovered something that has been there for centuries and has, you know what I'm saying? When an old clueless ass like colonizer comes in and like takes something and pretends it was theirs all along. Like this skort, the amount of young people that are so excited that there are shorts that are under skirts now. And I'm like, do you know what school bells is? Did you ever have to go to school bells for your uniform back in the day? And skirts were a thing? Like skirts came out. I was wearing skirts in the 90s, and I don't believe they were created at that time.
I read something the other day about different buzzwords on food menus that attract certain demos. Mm-hmm. And everything's obviously not a catch-all, but I saw that Gen Z really likes the word ultimate and loaded when it comes to their menu items. And I'm like, I have been digging into ultimate nachos and loaded nachos and fries like since I could shove my face into that pile of food.
I will take ultimate and loaded over artisan any day.
Yeah, agree.
Any day.
I'm going to make a TikTok and tell everybody on TikTok they're Columbusing. One and a half last things, and this actually might wind up into a long conversation, but I'll throw it at you anyway. You know who is most happy that the Diddy thing gets uglier and uglier? And I also need to apologize. I thought his weekend apology on Instagram after the video came out, I thought it was one of the, on the scale of are they contrite, is this legit, it was pretty high. Come to find out, there was a Rolling Stone article about him that just came out a couple days ago that detailed his like violence and anger towards everyone going back to his college days when he was at whatever HBC. And I'm like, well, that made me realize, well, no wonder the apology was so good. He's probably been doing it for 40 years. Yeah. But you know who's really happy that it keeps getting worse for Diddy?
Who?
Nick Carter.
Why?
See? So this stuff had floated out there before. Do you remember the girl group Dream?
Of course. I love Dream. That was like the theme of my bachelorette party. Like, he loves me, he loves me not.
Love that song. That song.
So do I.
To this day has some of the sickest production and. So
what an era. What a time.
So can you visualize the girls in the group?
Absolutely.
Okay. And by the way,
the tall blonde one,
yes.
The little short one with small lips. Yeah, of course I can.
Oddly enough, I think Diddy put them together.
I thought he put he put Danity Kane together.
Dream might have been the proto version of that, though.
Yeah, I think Danity Kane was after Dream had come out and he had done Dream, and so he's like added Making the Band. Like he created Making the Band in a girl group version because he was so successful at some of the other ones.
Well, the tall blonde girl, Melissa Schumann, who, for the record, is the one that I had the crush on, and when they were doing radio promo tours back in like 2001, I was like, please be like, if they come to Detroit and they come to the radio station, please invite me, please invite me, please invite me. So there was a story within the last couple of years. She came out about Nick Carter raping her.
She did?
Sexually assaulting her.
Oh, see, I was too young at the time.
Well, this was just like in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh.
And the internet attacked her. So whatever show has been shining the spotlight on these child actors, whatever show this has been
on
for
HBO.
Whatever it is. Well, they dove into the Carters. And they spoke to Melissa Schumann and then a couple of other girls, and she in detail explained the sexual assault. And it is extremely graphic. And then there are some other people who are corroborated things with Nick's behavior and whatnot. But to the point, he is damn happy this is the week that like the Diddy downfall happened, because I thought this would take off, because like this is to the point where so all the Diddy songs are off the air. In fact, Stash came to me and he made a good point. He's like, we should probably stop playing Kesha TikTok because she references him and his voice is in the song. I was like, good point. But I'm
Didn't I come out to a Diddy song at my wedding? No, that was Biggie. Well, tomato.
I'm like, what songs has Diddy like ad-libbed in that need to come off? So I'm like, well, we play a lot of Backstreet Boys songs. And I am prepared. I don't think it'll get to this because there's 4 other people in the band, as opposed to Diddy being a solo thing in many ways. I was like, the Nick Carter story did not blow up as I expected for a variety of reasons, but you must read what happened on that show. It's absolutely horrific.
I'll watch it. I mean, I've been watching the show, so I just haven't seen anything in almost a week, so I didn't know that. Wow.
Let me do this just for us because I'm I love this song so much.
Yes.
I think it's too obscure for me to stick on the air.
Love it. Love it.
I'm gonna take it with you. You pulling petals off a flower, trying to get your way.
So that song was literally like the general theme of my bachelorette party. So if you go back into my Facebook page and look at those photos with like me and Maj and Allie, and I've got like clips in my hair and I'm like throwing up the peace signs. Like it was very girl group, like 90s, like He's My Man, Tony Braxton, like it was very that. And although I think these girls were early 2000s.
Yes,
but
like 2001.
Yes. But it's such a time, and Floyd performs to this. So Deja performs to this song, and I live whenever this performance comes. We need and by the way, happy birthday to Floyd and Deja. But we need like a recap of that. I need my moment. Like I need my girl group like moment again, because that song and that group is one of my favorites.
Yeah, they had their other single wasn't as big, called "This Is Me." Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wish, I'd like to know if more people know that song so I could
play it at the skating party.
I will ask A-Dub.
Please.
All right.
A-Dub, it's for me.
Go, well, you'll be there, won't you?
Of course I will.
You didn't skate last year.
I'm not skating this year. I'm not going to break my wrist. You're joking?
Okay. All right. Well, go get the power back on and flip this awful Nick Carter show back on. It actually speaks pretty well of Aaron Carter, or at least to the degree of helping reshape the image. Not that we need it with where we are right now, with the understanding of it. He wasn't like
he was troubled.
Yes, he was not a fuck up. He had a lot of demons.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.